To my dearest friend. On my travels I have made note of many beasts and creatures that wander the continent. However, among such travels I have also discovered strange places or things that might be of interest to you. And so I hope they may find their way into yet another collection. Let us start in a land that is very close to my heart. Skellige is a wild realm, populated by seafaring folk and bound by centuries of tradition. Among such traditions, warfare is highly valued, and some would even say built into their culture. But the Skelligan people do not have armies. They do not amass thousands of men. They are raiders and skirmishers, those who fight in smaller clans among their brothers and sisters. With that said, you can imagine that whatever conflicts break out in Skellige are no more than skirmishes on both sea and land. However, on the Isle of Ard Skellig, near a village named Firestall, can be found the rotting remains of a siege tower. A tower designed to carry and break into walls that ladders or men simply could not reach. This feat of engineering was left, abandoned for many years, a shadow and a skeleton of what it once was. It seemed to me to be constructed from the nearby trees. It looked more rugged and ragtag than the true siege towers of the Northern Army. It had obviously been put together in a hurry, tied loosely with rope, and sharpened pikes ran its facade like pointed teeth. Whoever had constructed it did not take into account for how troublesome the terrain would be, for the wheels of the tower had been broken and beaten against the unforgiving riverbeds and rocky hills. I could not help but wonder what such people would want with such a massive thing. Boats and axes are the weapons of Skelligans, not towers to hide inside as it rumbles towards death. I recall asking the locals why it had been built and where it had been headed, but many simply didn't know or wouldn't say. I never knew if it was out of embarrassment or pride, but the siege tower was undoubtedly the memory of a failed attempt. Realizing I would not get any answers from the people, I tried to gauge where the tower might have been headed. My conclusion was the village named Boxholm, one that stood not far from the tower's location and was directly before it. It was an abandoned village, one that had obviously seen better days. Houses were burned to the ground, bridges broken, it had been razed and destroyed. But the village itself was not the tower's target. Instead, I think it was the castle that sat close by, a fortified position with 2 bridges of entry and a steep hill to climb up from behind. Any who would attempt to attack the castle were surely rained down by a mass of arrows and rocks. I wager that whoever was attacking the village had been unable to breach the castle itself. Out of desperation, they had tried to construct this tower to push it up near the castle walls and leap out onto the ramparts. I do not think they were successful. But the castle had certainly been damaged. I simply could not tell if it was merely the result of time and decay, or that of other greater weapons. I don't think we will ever know if the attackers made their way inside and stormed the castle halls, or if their plans fell apart and they simply had to retreat. I doubt we will ever know who these warriors were, what they wanted, or if they even existed. It is another mystery lost to the ages, but I'm sure many would agree with me when I say to see a siege tower standing still and alone in the middle of a Skellige valley is indeed an interesting sight. As always, I hoped you enjoyed this letter, and maybe one day we will solve this mystery together. Please reply as soon as you can, and share with me what your thoughts are. I wish you well, my friend. Safe travels.